I would like to call the April 14th, 2022 regular board meeting to order at 6:03 p.m. And would like to have Aaron Holland do our invocation, please. Please rise out of respect.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for winding down our school year. Please continue to keep our staff and students safe as they finish out the school year. We thank you for our many successes this school year, and we pray that you be with us throughout the remainder of the year and throughout graduation as well, Lord. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And if you will, Mr. Green, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item is the approval of the agenda. Mr. Young, do you have any amendments to the agenda?
I do not, Madam Chair.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Okay. Mr. Green, thank you.
I'll second.
Mr. Holland, thank you for the second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? The vote is 5-0. The agenda has been approved. Next on the agenda is recognitions. Our recognitions. We're going to recognize our Pickens High School girls basketball team. Made it to the Final Four. That was big.
Yeah, that was awesome. Let's give them a hand.
We had community involvement on that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, board members, Mr. Young, thanks for having us out this evening. We got the team represented here by several of our players and coaches. I'm going to get Coach Thomas up here in just a second, but I just want to say real quickly just a couple words about these young ladies in this program. You know, Coach Thomas has done a great job, Coach Shaw, Coach Lutz. They got a great program going on, but as I remind people, they didn't make any of the shots, those three people. It was these young ladies who worked very diligently all season to get prepared for this run that they made, and it was super exciting. It was fun to see 3.5 hours away, and you go down to this huge coliseum and get to see a sea of green and get to see the it almost looked like a home game for us, and it was incredible. A lot of students, a lot of parents, a lot of supporters, and it really was something I think not only they will always remember their whole life, but the adults that were there as well and all the patrons. So I just want to publicly say thank you to these ladies for how hard they worked and how they represented our school, not only on the court, but how they represent us every day in the school. They're leaders on the court, but they're also leaders in the classroom, in the hallways. Never have any problems out of these young ladies. I've got a couple seniors that we're certainly going to miss. Amanda Nelson, Carmen Mullins helped lead this team, and great leaders in our school again. And we're just very fortunate to have a great program and great community support. So I appreciate the community, appreciate the board. I don't know if it had anything to do with it, but we did get that new basketball court at our gym, and we didn't lose on it many times. These girls didn't. So maybe it was the new court that everybody really loves. So, but at this time, I want to get Coach Brandon Thomas to come up, and Coach Shaw, and whoever he wants to bring up and talk a little bit about them, and he can tell you a lot more about this crew. So, thank you, Coach.
Thanks. Now come on and stand up in the middle, ladies. We got about half our girls here today. All the ones that aren't here communicated and participate in all kinds of other things because they're very active. And just one thing I'll say about them, it's really easy to coach young women like this because I can send a message to either our upcoming seniors or our previous seniors and say, hey, we need to be there at this time. You guys need to dress appropriately, and then they show up. I pull in the parking lot and they're all here before me and they're all dressed in their t-shirts. I don't know if you guys deal with young people on a regular basis, but when you can have confidence and faith that they can do kind of things like that, it makes my job super easy. So I'm really proud of that, and that's the way they are every day. I won't say a whole lot, but I do want to personally thank Mr. Thompson, Ms. Callahan, you guys were fantastic in part of that experience of us having some lifelong memories for these girls when you guys organized our visit to Harmony and to JMS. It was fantastic, and just we got some pictures of it, some footage behind the scenes, and just to watch them be able to go through the school and see those little kids chanting "Let's go Dragons" or all those quirky middle school kids out on the side giving them high fives. It was just awesome. And that just leads me right into the one thing that I would like to say is that we're just super thankful. We're thankful for our community, for the support we get from the administration, from the other schools, the notes that they get whenever we have a situation where we make state. And not just our program, but we have a lot of programs that are doing well right now as we're meeting. We've got soccer teams playing in the state tournament. Down in Luella, we got a track team that's pretty phenomenal this year. Baseball's still playing. So we're just thankful to be a part of this community. And for the board and Mr. Young, you guys had to approve that situation with the court this year. And it was a legitimate thing that we needed. You came over personally, you saw what was going on with the court. And in a town like this, we can have something, a resolution to it. Not only did we correct it, it looks beautiful now. Stacy, you had a big part in helping with that. So thankfulness is my word to describe being able to coach young ladies like this, to have an awesome staff, to have an awesome community and parents and administrators that support us all the way down to the elementary school. So a couple of facts about this team. Yes, they did make it to the Final Four, first time in quite a while, but they also set a couple of records this year. They tied the longest win streak in school history in girls basketball, and there's quite a history from Coach Cowart in girls basketball, over 900 wins in the program's history, but they matched it at 21 straight wins. We had a chance to break the school record in a single season in the region championship game, and it was a devastating defeat after being up in the second half. And then as we waited on them to come out of the locker room, handling that defeat, a goal that we have been chasing all year to go back-to-back region championships, which has never been done in the history of girls basketball. There's been a lot of region championships, but to win twice in a row, that's what we really wanted, and we didn't get it. And we were all pretty down. I just remember hugging each one of them as they came out of the locker room and telling them, hey, that's okay. But fortunately, we had a few days, about 5 or 6 days before the first round of state, and he and I and Coach Lutz got to work on preparing, and they came back with a fresh mindset. And what's really neat is, even though we lost and didn't attain that goal, it's kind of like we got some new resolve for the next round, and I think it greatly led to some of the comeback things that happened in the next 3 rounds to get us to play Marist in the Final Four. So it's a testament to them. One other thing I'll point out stat-wise is we set a record for the least amount of points per game allowed in school history at 35.3, so they really played some fantastic defense. One last thing, so I get to talk a lot of people kind of talked about our season and our region. They said our region wasn't very solid. And some of that's lopsided because there's a few teams in our region that don't do very well in girls basketball, and I think that was evident on senior night when we won like 59-7. But our particular region this year had 3 teams out of the final 8 teams in the Elite 8, which even makes some of their accomplishments even more impressive for them when they look back that we beat some good teams that made it quite far. So that's all I got to say. Coach Shaw, you got anything? All right, Amanda, you want to say anything? All right, we'll just get y'all's picture. We're good to go.
Chair, you mind if I sit next to you? This makes me look better. Thank you, guys. Are we with them? Tell them what they have.
Thank you very much. No, Coach Parker, you can't go with them. All right, thank you so much. That was an exciting run for them. They did a great job. The next thing on our agenda is Superintendent Reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will start off with Ms. Smith giving our financial report. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Put me behind the tall people. Thank you, Mr. Young. And Ms. Martha is ready to go. Our general fund, we'll review the April 22 report. General fund revenue collected through March 22 is at 79.19%, and the expenditures were at 59.87% of the approved budget. Our Fund 150, we were hoping to bring an amendment to y'all tonight, but we had a little complication, and then Ms. Goodman is out of town until next Monday, so we did not get to finish that before spring break or the day or two that we had when we got back. So we will have an amendment for you either at the 22nd, if we have a call meeting, or at the next board meeting for that Fund 150. So do not be concerned about the numbers you see here. We are still well within. 150 is technically considered part of the 100 budget. So we're well within our, even though certain categories look like they're in the hole.
We're gonna start capping the amount of times you can amend this.
Oh, I know. Well, I will say this. I actually had a discussion with a couple board members about this. Just to clarify about amendments now. Amendments in the past, we rarely ever did an amendment for a budget, whether it was SPLOST, general fund, any of them. Now, in this atmosphere, when we go into the beginning of our budget year, we do not have all the information. We used to receive the information in February typically. Now, with all these new grants coming in and the changes in the rules sometimes in the middle of the year, we have to bring this to you to get you to approve this. And when I say you, I mean the board. You are to know what we are spending it on and what funds we are receiving. So amendments, many school systems do them monthly. We try not to have to do it that often, but this time of year you'll see me a lot. But we have lots of CARES grants. We've had opportunities come up. One of the amendments we're going to request tonight has to do with a connectivity grant that came up after the budget was approved, well into the year. We originally weren't going to participate, then decided it was a good opportunity for us because they changed the rules a little bit. So it is a little tedious. Believe me, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. But this is necessary due to the rules we play by. So we will continue to keep you updated on moment by moment on these funds as they move around. As always, hopefully we will continue to be able to do this. We have no debt. In our capital outlay fund, our SPLOST revenue for March 2022 was $616,075,008. We had one donation made for $25,000. Interest earned was $1,816.30. Expenditures totaled $945,578.77. And those expenditures were mostly for the PJHS ag facility. Since then, we have now begun the PHS ag facility payments, the greenhouse. We have a little bit of residual on 2 former projects, and we have retainage at the end. We have to jump through some hoops to get those final payments done, but we should have those shortly, so we'll be able to wrap up 2 more projects. Our month-end SPLOST balance was $8,821,192.74. Our special revenue funds, and this includes federal grants, school and school food. We've collected 54.31% of our budgeted revenue and expended 68.45% of the budgeted expenditures. I'm always going to remind you, these are called pull grants. We have to spend the money and then request the reimbursement. So our revenue is always going to be a little bit behind until we get to the end of the year. Do y'all have any questions on that portion? And Ms. Martha, if you will pull up the school activities report. Every quarter, we are required to present the school activities report by school. These are the internal funds at each school. Each school has an account. This money is more flexible. It is money that they raise through after-school care, maybe fundraisers, but each school has an account. It is in the Board of Education name and then the school name, but we are required to report this to you every quarter. The beginning balance, the revenue expenditures, and then the ending balance as of the end of the quarter. So this is through March 2022. Do y'all have any questions? Okay, that's all I have right now.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Amy. Go ahead and do our operations and construction update with Mr. Gilleland.
I have to line short. But it's that time of year when Mother Nature doesn't know whether it wants to be hot or cold. So our air conditioners don't know whether they want to cool or heat our systems. So it's a challenge this time of year. That's when we start having the little odds and ends things go on with those, but we've got a lot of calls going on with that right now. But things are going pretty good. Got a good group of people preparing us for getting ready for the end of school and graduation, so they're working hard heading in that direction. Our construction projects at the high school on the ag facility is going very well. A little bit ahead of schedule, happy to tell you. A few items still haven't arrived that are on the way. We did put all the block came in this week, so it's sitting there ready to go. As soon as the steel hits, we'll be making really good time on this. So I'm excited about that. Stadium cleaning is looking really good. The caulking is complete and the coating will be going on next week. So I've got some pictures here we can show you all this. That's the one view down to the pad. The pad's poured at the barn. All the plumbing's in, everything's ready to go. It's a matter now of laying steel out. This week we didn't do anything on the slab because it was poured late last week and they wanted to make sure they weren't damaging anything. That's the stadium. That was the before picture. The left side had been cleaned.
You want me to go back?
Yeah, the left side had been cleaned just a little. And you can see the center section where it hadn't been touched. This is what I was talking about. And if you walk across the concrete, you're seeing the marble in it, you're seeing the rock in it. So it was time to really get onto this thing and do something. So I appreciate y'all letting us do it. That's after the final cleaning. They're in the process now of sealing and caulking all the cracks. 99% of those are done. I found some other stuff I wanted them to do today, so I laid that out to them. They're doing that. They have already put a little bit of the coating down around the rails and stuff because they have to do that with a brush. The rest are going to spray on. So they'll start that next week, and it'll take a good week or more to do it because it's 250 gallons of sealer, so it'll take a lot. It may take more than that. Any questions on the construction?
Is it still, did I understand from Superintendent yesterday, it's in the next week?
They're
Tentatively.
They didn't want to promise me, but they were grinned when I asked them. And they said, we had a meeting day before yesterday, actually, and they said, yeah, by the end of the next week, we think we'll have steel. They said, if not, it will be here before April's up, and we were really expecting it in May before, so that's going to help. And the weather's been pretty good. They've been able to work, so they picked up the pace. Transportation, where mechanics getting ready for the state inspection. They'll start in 2 or 3 weeks. They'll come in and inspect every single bus. They'll do it in 2 days, 3 days. We have to drive the bus in. We have to raise the hood. We have to work the brakes. Have to work everything. They get under them on a roller and everything. They check them out. And we're very successful at this because Tracy stays on top of it. And with y'all's guidance and help over the years, we're down to a 10-year-old fleet. And so they love to come see us. They're not crawling under buses with oil dripping on them and everything else. So we actually take every bus 2 weeks before and run it through a pressure washer and clean the motor and underneath and everything, so everything's good and clean for them. Inspectors like it. We get rave reviews on that. Starting a new training class next week. I think I've got 3 people in it. Got 2 finishing up right now from another training class. One of them is just going to do field trucks for us when we need to. That's actually Rob Jones. He's going to help drive for us a little bit. Hope I've got 3 coming. Had another driver leave yesterday, but it's for a better paying job in a full-time setting at a commercial business. So nothing I can do about things like that when they do that. She didn't even want to talk and say, can I do anything to help you stay here? She said, no, this is just an opportunity I got to take. So can't follow her for that. And as always, we still need drivers and monitors, but we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Food service, May the 6th is Food Service Local Hero Appreciation Day. We'd love for everybody to stop by one of the cafeteria on the 6th and give your school's food service people a hug and tell them you thank them and like them, and they appreciate it. They love to see some of y'all in the buildings. It makes them feel important. We also still need cafeteria help too, so it's not just transportation, it's a lot of little things like that. May the 11th is School Nurse Appreciation Day, so stop by your clinics. You ought to tour the clinics sometime. If you ever go in one of the schools, go see them, it's pretty neat. They run a pretty tight organization there, it's neat, go see them. Any questions? You wanted to.
I thought about it. Did we, no, your clinic comment made me think, did we ever do that big, clinic partnership or whatever we were talking about for so long?
Actually, they've reached out to us again to sit down and talk again about this. And Gail sent me a email this evening saying, can we do it next week? But he's gonna be at Gale next week. Bootstrap part of next week, so we'll probably have to do it the next week.
I know we got the urgent care agreement done, but I couldn't remember if we ever got that nursing clinic done.
He's got to look at that real serious, because there's some things there that we're a little nervous about. Yeah, it's still in the works, so.
Okay.
And I noticed too on there, through March 31st, they've served 645,511 meals.
They're free this year.
That's mind-blowing. Thanks, Stacy. Appreciate you and Amy. Madam Chair, that concludes Superintendent Reports.
All right, thank you so much. All right, we'll go through our list of action items. The first one is the approval of personnel. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel action report as presented?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Mr. Holland, and the second was Mr. Gartrell. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? The vote is 5-0.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
if I may,
certainly.
I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but I'm a short timer now, so it don't really matter anymore.
What are we going to do to you?
That's right. And I don't want to necessarily embarrass her, but I noticed that one of the individuals on the PAR is here, and I hate for her to come all this way and not get recognized, but Miss Emily Cantrell, who's going to be our new Pickens High School ag teacher, is here, so I just wanted to recognize her in the back. So,
All right.
congratulations to her.
Ms. Cantrell, it's nice to put a name with a face, and I have already heard terrific things about you, so this is great. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
This is a great place to work, and I've worked here, so I know.
I'm very excited. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate you pointing that out, Mr. Green. The next item is approval of financial reports. Do I have a motion to approve the financial reports that Ms. Smith presented?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Green
Second.
and Mr. Smith seconded that motion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0. All right. Next item is the approval of the FY22 salary supplemental pay. Do I have a motion to approve as presented the FY22 salary supplemental pay request?
Madam Chair, can I read into the record the motion first?
Absolutely.
Just a technicality, and everybody bear with me, it's quite a bit of reading. It's the request for the approval of the one-time supplemental pay and retention pay. Georgia House Bill 910 provides a one-time supplement of $2,000 as recommended and approved by the governor on March 17, 2022. The supplement is intended for full and part-time school level educators, nurses, custodians, bus drivers, nutrition workers, and central and school level administration employed as of March 16, 2022. The supplemental payment is funded through 5 categories within the state appropriations bill. Revenue for the supplemental pay should be received in April of this year. I would like to recommend an expansion of the scope and depth of the approved supplemental pay plan by using Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund 2 Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act funds and local funds in an effort to retain certified, non-certified, and contracted staff. Funds would be paid in the following manner. All Pickens County School employees who were employed as of 3/16/2022 are eligible. One-time supplemental pay of $2,000 for all full and part-time staff funded or eligible through HB 910 appropriations funding. One-time supplemental pay of $2,000 for all full and part-time staff not included in HB 910 appropriations to be funded with ESSER and CRISA Act or local funds. One-time supplemental pay of $2,000 for all full and part-time contracted staff employed by ESS and ABM funded with allowable appropriations, grants, or local funds. All related benefit expense will be funded through the applicable funding source as allowed under the terms of the appropriation grant and/or budget. Supplemental pay will be paid as early as May 2022, but must be dispersed by June 30, 2022. The final payment date will be determined by required grant approvals.
Would you repeat that, please?
I'd rather not.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Green made the motion to approve the FY22 salary supplemental pay as presented, and Mr. Smith seconded that motion. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd just like to mention that we have always been committed to taking care of our employees, and that we again this year did extend it even to our contract staff.
Yes, we did. Thank you. Okay, all in favor? 5-0. Motion passes unanimously.
Is information going to go out to staff about how this is going to work?
We've already sent it out to them.
Okay, does that include like when it was going
Yep.
to? Okay, that's right. Thank you.
Already got that sent out to them. And
That'll
they're very appreciative to the board for covering everybody.
It'll cut down on calls.
Yes.
All right. The next item is the approval of the FY22 budget amendment. Ms. Smith presented. Do I have a motion to approve the FY22 budget amendment as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr. Holland
I'll second.
and Mr. Green seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? The vote is 5-0. Okay, the next item is approval of a voting delegate and alternate to the 2022 Gsba Summer Conference and Delegate Assembly. Each year, school boards in Georgia are asked to select a local board member to represent the entire board as a voting delegate at the Summer Gsba Conference, that's Georgia School Board Association Conference, and Delegate Assembly in Savannah, Georgia. Who would like to volunteer to travel to Savannah as the voting delegate for our board? Okay, thank you so much. Steve Smith has volunteered. All right.
Thank you.
Steve Smith has volunteered. So I would like to nominate him to do that. And do I hear a second to that nomination?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. All in favor? 5-0. Okay. Let's see.
Same process.
All right. We are to also choose an alternate for this process, gentlemen. Who would like to volunteer to travel to Savannah as the voting delegate alternate for our board?
Steve, do you intend to go?
He has already told me that he is planning to go.
That weighs how important this alternate position is.
Yes, this is a face-to-face position. It is not a virtual thing this year. Who would like to travel and be the alternate in case Mr. Smith is unable to carry out the duties of his position?
I was on to it last year, so.
excellent.
Do you have
He has experience.
any reasons to go to Savannah?
It's a pretty city.
Okay. All right, well, Mr. Green has volunteered, so I will nominate him to be our alternate.
And I will second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you for volunteering, Mr. Green. Okay. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve, gentlemen. Is there any discussion on that alternate nomination? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. 5-0. Thank you so much. All right, the next item is the approval of the superintendent evaluation instrument. With the assistance of Dr. Donna Hinton with the Georgia School Board Association, we have recently developed a superintendent evaluation instrument. Do I have a motion to approve the FY23 superintendent evaluation instrument as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Mr. Smith, do I hear a second?
I'll second. I was waiting for you to get your papers straight there.
Thank you so much. Is there any further discussion?
I will say that I really appreciate Dr. Hinton's help, and she is the best facilitator I have dealt with since I have been on this board.
Absolutely. And just for the public's knowledge, Dr. Hinton came and worked with us. And Dr. Hinton has been a superintendent for many years. And she now works with Georgia School Board Association, and this is her job. She goes around and works with school boards and helped us clarify what our expectations were. And we developed the school superintendent's evaluation with his input, but we developed it with our school action plan, with the county's action plan. So it all fits in very nicely, and I think it's something that we're all very proud of, and that's what's going to be used in the future.
And Madam Chair, it's also important to note that each of the 5 of us had a hand in working on
Absolutely.
this and knowledge of it, and that we all thought this was a very strong
Mhm.
instrument.
Right, we all had input, and we all felt very strongly that we're very proud of it. Yes. Any further discussion? All right, all in favor? 5-0. Thank you so much. All right. Do you have anything that you want to say about the change order with the?
Absolutely, yeah. Stacy, would you like to say a little bit about that change order?
This one speaks for itself. We're getting money back, so y'all should be tickled. It's the finish of the PJ project of the Ag Center, and we're getting $47,000 back from that project off our
Okay,
contracted price.
great. All right, they gave me a little bit higher number, so that's even better. Do I have a motion to approve the change order with Carroll Daniel Construction for the Pickens Junior High School agriculture facility to the amount of $48,543.86 as presented?
I make that motion, Madam Chair.
All right, Mr. Gartrell made the motion, Mr. Smith seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Okay, the next item is the approval of an MOU with Kennesaw State University. And the next one is an MOU with Reinhardt University. And I'm sure that Superintendent Young would like to give us a little more information.
Yes, Madam Chair, these are 2 more opportunities for the school system to work with Kennesaw and Reinhardt for placement of student teachers. We always facilitate those agreements with universities. It's a great way for us to kind of see what's out there, an opportunity for us to recruit, which is never a bad thing. Sometimes you get some really strong candidates out of that process as they student teach with us and find out how awesome we are. So I am asking for board approval of these 2 MOUs so that we can place student teachers through Kennesaw and Reinhardt.
Okay, thank you very much.
I make a motion that we approve.
I'll second.
The Kennesaw one first, or both, how we.
She read them as both, so.
Both.
I did read them as both, I'm sorry. Is it okay if I do them as both?
They're
Okay.
separate. They're separate.
They're separate, let's do it separately. I'll make a motion on the first one on Kennesaw.
All right, that was my mistake. I combined the two when I asked Superintendent Young the question. All right, is this a routine MOU allowing Kennesaw University students to observe in our classrooms? Yes, it is. Do I have a motion to approve the MOU with Kennesaw State University as presented?
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Gartrell made the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Holland seconded the motion for the Kennesaw State MOU. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, 5-0. And the next action item is the approval of the MOU with Reinhardt University. And I assume this MOU is similar to the Kennesaw MOU. Discuss that.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to approve the MOU with Reinhardt University as presented?
I'll make that motion. Soar Eagles.
All right,
I'll second.
Mr.
Go Dogs.
Gartrell and Mr. Holland. All right, is there any further discussion? Not gonna have a pep rally or anything?
No,
here, are we?
no.
Okay. All right, good.
I will miss this somehow, for some reason, I won't miss this.
Hey, you had the opportunity to run. No, you wouldn't.
I couldn't get anybody to loan me $50.
All in favor? 5-0. I am going to miss this team. My, oh my. All right, the next item is the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 10th, 2022 call meeting at 5 p.m. and the March 10th, 2022 regular meeting at 6 p.m.?
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Mr. Smith made the motion and Mr. Green seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? The vote is 5-0. The next action item is approval of surplus. We have surplus from Hill City Elementary and Tate Elementary Media Centers. These are books that contain out-of-date information, are damaged, or have low circulation. Do I have a motion to approve the surplus submitted from Hill City Elementary and Tate Elementary Media Centers?
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I'll make the second, and then I'm gonna have questions.
Yes, sir. Mr. Green made the second, and now he has questions.
Did we really have that many books that, because of COVID, I think I saw one of them was like 400 books or something from one school that were never returned.
We did.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Was it across all 6 solved problems that bad?
We actually bought a return book bin to even go outside on our sidewalk to try to get them, back, just to drop them at any time, and just lost them. But that means they have books in their homes now. It's a way to look at it. So.
That is a very optimistic way to look at it. I was just, when I saw that caught me off guard. I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, that was what I thought. It was like, well, I just hope the books are being at home or being read. Yes.
Has it put the media centers in a tough spot to have? I don't know how many books are typically in a media center, but
it's definitely a loss in the media center, but for the amount of books that we do have in the media center, and then by replacing them, with fresh new books, it's definitely a loss.
It may take a little while to catch back up. All right, well, is there any further discussion? Any other questions? Okay. All in favor? 5-0. Okay, the next action item is public participation. Mr. Young, have we received any requests for public participation at this board meeting?
We have not, Madam Chair.
Okay. And the next action item is board comments. Oh my goodness, my colleagues are quiet. Okay.
I suggest we hurry up so people can enjoy the rest of this beautiful afternoon.
I'm working on it. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
Mr. Smith and Mr. Gartrell seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Thank you all for coming this evening. This meeting is adjourned at 6:43 p.m.